and this is the paradox of choice. The subtext is why more is less, and the author is Barry Schwartz. And it says how the culture of abundance robs us of satisfaction. Based on the amount of time that I have had this book, my guess is that I heard about it on the Tim Ferriss show, the Tim Ferriss podcast. I used to listen to his podcast religiously, all the time. And it's not that I don't like it. I think I maybe outgrew it a little bit. He's also maybe not the most, I don't know. It's just not something I listen to all the time anymore. I go back to it here and there, but I used to get all of my book recommendations from that show. So that's where I heard about this. And I'm going to read you some of the accolades for it and the description, and then I'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what I think. So on the bottom here it says, a revolutionary and beautifully reasoned book about the promiscuous amount of choice that renders the consumer helpless, a must-read. And you may have already noticed up here, there's a little gold seal and it says Business Week Top 10 Book of the Year. It doesn't say what year, but it's Forbes.com and Business Week Top 10 Book of the Year. So whatever year that was, it was rated pretty highly. It also says an insightful study that winningly argues its subtitle, which is the Why More is Less. The paradox of choice is genuine and useful. The book is well reasoned and solidly researched. I think one of my favorite things about this book is that right there, which is that it is useful. When it says genuine and useful, I think there's something that distinguishes a good book from a great book when you actually feel like you used the things inside of it, or like there's a practical approach to it, as opposed to just like philosophy or ideas. So this is the explanation for it on the back, the official blurb on the back. It says, whether we're buying a pair of jeans, selecting a long-distance carrier, choosing a doctor, or setting up a 401k, everyday decisions, from the mundane to the profound challenges of balancing career, family, and individual needs, have become increasingly complex due to the overwhelming abundance of choice with which we are presented. We assume that more choice means better options and greater satisfaction, but beware of choice overload. It can make you question the decisions you make before you even make them. It can set you up for unrealistically high expectations, and it can make you blame yourself for any and all failures. In The Paradox of Choice, Barry Schwartz explains why too much of a good thing has proven detrimental to our psychological and emotional well-being. Synthesizing current research in the social sciences, he makes the counterintuitive case that eliminating choices can greatly reduce the stress, anxiety, and busyness of our lives. In accessible, engaging, and anecdotal prose, he offers practical steps for how to limit choices to a manageable number and have the discipline to focus on the important ones and ignore the rest, and ultimately derive greater satisfactions from the choices you do make. I think that's a pretty compelling blurb. They did a good job with sort of making it want to making you want to read it. There's even a lot more, like, I guess accolades is the word that keeps coming to my mind, but like recommendations in here from some pretty important people like Daniel Kahneman, who is a Nobel laureate, the New York Observer, the Philadelphia Inquirer, about it being insightful and useful and all that kind of stuff. So, let's see here. Trying to see. So, the contents of the book. In case you want to like screen grab it or whatever. There's the introduction, of course, the prologue. Then the chapters are Let's Go Shopping, New Choices, Deciding and Choosing, When Only the Best Will Do, Choice and Happiness, Missed Opportunities, If Only, The Problem of Regret, Why Decisions Disappoint, Why Everything Suffers from Comparison, and Whose Fault Is It? Choice, Disappointment, and Depression. What to Do About Choice is the last one. So I think, like a lot of people, I think I've dealt with choice overload. I've dealt with FOMO, fear of missing out. And I think what this book taught me the most is how much time we waste that we don't have to waste. So for instance, he gave a really great example, I think, in the book. A great example, I think, for me in particular, because I could really relate to it. And that is the example of potentially going shopping. Let's say, I think the example, if I'm remembering correctly, is that he used the analogy of going shopping for a dress for like a holiday party. And so I think that a lot of people, they waste a lot of time thinking that there's something better out there. And that can be for a lot of different applications, like life applications, whether it's jobs or relationships or clothes or opportunities or whatever. And what the book really teaches is the importance of having a very specific set of expectations, or very like a list of the things you want. So for instance, if you're going to buy a dress for a holiday party and you say, okay, I want it to be red, I want it to be like a certain length, and I want it to have pockets, I'm just making something up, and I want it to be under $50 or whatever, $100, $500. And then you go to the store and you try some dresses on and you find one that you really like. It's the first store you go to and it checks all the boxes. So it's the right price, the right style, it has pockets or whatever it was that you set out to get. And you are the one that set the criteria. So you're saying, this is what I asked for and this is what I got, and they're the same thing. So if you, the book taught me that if you have a clear definition of what you're looking for and you find it, you just stop. And I don't know why that was such a revelation for me, but it really, the analogies in the book really hit home for me in terms of really, they translated well into something that I could think of in my own life. And so, and I thought, yeah, I mean, in that particular situation, I probably would have ended up going to like 5 other stores and spending 3 more hours and gas money and aggravation, potentially to go back to the first dress that I found, which how many times does that happen? And I don't know if that happens to men as much as it happens to women, but I can definitely say that there have been instances where I've tried something on and it's great and I love it, and like for whatever reason, you know, you don't really know, it's a very like FOMO type thing. You end up spending the entire rest of your day or afternoon or whatever looking for something else. And why? Like, what is it that you found it? So that has really, really, really helped me with a lot of different applications. And honestly, it's actually a really big reason why I'm here, continuing to do ASMR videos, because I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a really long time. And I've been doing these videos for 7 years, and I keep going in and out, in and out. And I thought to myself, like, what do I want? And I want to be able to have a career online. I really love making videos. I have fun doing it, and it checks off all the boxes. So why look for something else? This is what I want to do. So I'm doing it. And the real takeaway from the book is the importance, I think, of the criteria that you set. So it has to be quality, good criteria. It can't be so perfect that you'll never get there, but it can't be vague. Like, you can't say like, I want to find a great guy or a great girl. Like, that doesn't mean anything. But you can't necessarily say like, I want to find someone that wears blue every day of their life, because that's probably not going to happen. So, you know, you might say like, I want to find someone who, you know, they're interested in sports, or they're close with their family, or they have an education, or, you know, you list these things that are like real qualities of someone. And it really helps you to define what you're looking for, so that way, you know, when you find it, you just stop, because you found it and you set the criteria. What are you looking past that for? And so, you know, I try to be very specific about what I want now, so that way when I find it, I stop. And I feel like it's saved me so many hours of aggravation just from this one book. I recommend this book to lots of people. It's a very important book to me personally, because of the real world implications and practical advice that it's given me. The one thing I will say about the paradox of choice is that you will find some studies in here. So even though there's like, even though it's got a lot of useful information, even though I don't think it's super difficult to read, there's a lot of like data, I guess would be the best way to say it. So if that's something that you're just not into, like reading about the actual studies and reasons why they have the information, then, you know, I'm just giving you the heads up about that. So that way you can like kind of know what you're getting into when it comes to that. There's one section that I really like, called When Only the Best Will Do. And this section is, there's 2 different types of people they talk about in the book, and this one is if you're a maximizer. And this is, I think, the one where he talks about the like sweater or dress or whatever. And I think that's when I realized that I was this type of person. And it talks about that there are certain people who choose quickly and decisively, and there are some people who every decision is a major project. And I used to be that person, and I think since this book I'm not. And so I will I'll put a link to the book in whatever description is here, like whatever text is below, so you can check it out if you'd like to. And I'm really excited to see what everyone thinks about it, if you've already read it or if you plan to read it and you plan to get it. I'd love to hear what you think.